most devastating weapon isn't forged from steel. It's carved from silence. While your enemies sharpen their tongues and load their accusations, you polish something far more lethal: composure. A single calm expression can topple empires of hatred. A quiet smile can shatter the strongest resolve. This is psychological warfare at its purest. Victory without violence. Conquest without conflict. Machiavelli knew that the prince who controls his reactions controls the battlefield. Your enemies want chaos. They crave drama. They hunger for your emotional collapse because it validates their strategy. But when you deny them this satisfaction, when you meet the storm with stillness, you transform their greatest weapon into their ultimate weakness. The smile becomes your signature, not of friendliness, but of supremacy. It says your hatred is entertainment, your anger is amateur theater, your best efforts are barely worth acknowledging. This isn't cruelty. It's calculated destruction through indifference. You're not fighting fire with fire. You're suffocating flames with silence. Every insult they hurl becomes a confession of their inadequacy. Every scheme they plot reveals their desperation. Every sleepless night they spend obsessing over your downfall becomes another brick in the prison they're building around themselves. And you sleep peacefully, knowing that tomorrow they'll wake up still consumed by thoughts of you. This is the paradox of power. The less you react, the more you control. Your stillness forces them to escalate, and escalation always reveals character. Watch how quickly righteous anger transforms into petty vindictiveness. Observe how justified criticism morphs into personal attacks. Their mask slips while yours remains perfectly in place. The ancient Chinese understood this principle through Wu Wei, victory through non-action. The Stoics taught that your enemies cannot harm what they cannot touch, and they cannot touch a mind that refuses engagement. Machiavelli refined these concepts for political warfare. Let your opponents exhaust themselves against your indifference. Consider the psychology of frustration. When someone attacks you and you respond, they feel heard, validated, significant. Their aggression served its purpose. It moved you. But when you remain unmoved, their attack becomes meaningless noise echoing in empty space. This psychological rejection cuts deeper than any counterattack ever could. Your silence creates a vacuum that their imagination fills with scenarios far worse than reality. Are you planning retaliation? Do you have information they don't? Are you building alliances while they waste energy on displays? The unknown terrifies more than the known, and your composure keeps them perpetually in the dark. There's profound humiliation in being ignored by someone you're trying to destroy. It communicates that they're not even worthy of your attention, let alone your energy. This relegates them from adversary to irrelevance, from threat to annoyance. Nothing crushes pride faster than being treated as beneath notice. The marketplace of attention operates on supply and demand. Your enemies are offering drama, conflict, entertainment, but you're not buying. Your refusal to engage creates scarcity around that product, leaving them with inventory nobody wants. Meanwhile, your attention goes to endeavors that actually matter. Watch what happens when you consistently refuse to take the bait. First comes confusion. Why aren't you fighting back? Then frustration. Surely you must crack eventually. Finally, desperation. Increasingly extreme attempts to provoke response. Each phase reveals more about their character, while revealing nothing about yours. Your enemies become your unwitting advertising department. Every conversation they have about you spreads your name. Every scheme they plot puts you in their mental real estate. Every moment they spend hating you is a moment not spent building themselves. You're occupying premium space in their consciousness, rent-free. The strategic advantage compounds over time. While they burn calories on resentment, you invest energy in advancement. While they plot your downfall, you plot your ascension. The distance between your trajectories grows exponentially, making their eventual realization of irrelevance even more crushing. Machiavelli observed that appearing weak while being strong confuses enemies into tactical errors. Your calm demeanor suggests either supreme confidence or naive vulnerability. Let them guess wrong. Let them underestimate. Let them attack a position you've already abandoned for higher ground. The smile you wear isn't masking pain. It's advertising superiority. It's the expression of someone who knows something they don't. It suggests that their attacks are so far off target they're actually amusing. This psychological positioning transforms you from victim to observer of their self-destruction. Time operates as your secret ally. Hatred is exhausting to maintain. Anger requires constant fuel. Obsession demands perpetual attention. But composure is renewable. Peace is sustainable. Your enemies are burning finite resources while you're generating infinite returns. The audience matters in these psychological dramas. Others watch how you handle attacks, how you respond to provocation, how you maintain dignity under fire. Your composure becomes your reputation. Your silence becomes your strength. Your smile becomes your signature of unshakable confidence. There is a beautiful irony in how hatred backfires. The more someone talks negatively about you, the more they keep your name alive in conversations. The more they plot against you, the more important you appear. The more energy they invest in your destruction, the more significance they assign to your existence. Your refusal to engage doesn't make you passive. It makes you selective. You're choosing which battles deserve your attention and which opponents merit your energy. This discernment marks the difference between reactive amateurs and strategic masters. You don't fight every war, you only fight the ones you can't lose. The power dynamic shifts when you control the terms of engagement. They're playing checkers, obvious moves, predictable patterns, limited strategy. You're playing chess, multiple moves ahead, hidden intentions, sacrificial pawns that serve larger purposes. Your silence is a grand master's patience. Consider how exhausting it must be to hate someone who won't hate you back. Every emotional outburst met with calm restraint. Every accusation answered with quiet dignity. Every attempt at provocation deflected by serene confidence. They're shadow boxing while you're building empires. The smile becomes your psychological signature, a calling card that says you're operating from a completely different level of consciousness. It is not mockery, though they may interpret it as such. It's the natural expression of someone who has transcended the need for validation through conflict. Your enemies often reveal more about themselves through their attacks then they reveal about you, their choice of weapons, their targeting strategy, their escalation patterns all provide intelligence about their character, their fears, their weaknesses. Your silence gives them rope. They provide the gallows. The most powerful leaders throughout history shared this trait. They could not be provoked into reactive behavior. Caesar crossing the Rubicon, Napoleon at Austerlitz, Lincoln during the Civil War. Each demonstrated that true strength lies in choosing when and how to respond, not in responding to every provocation. Your composure under attack signals something that terrifies insecure people. You might actually be as capable as you appear. If their best efforts to rattle you fail, what does that say about your actual strength? This realization often triggers even more desperate attacks, further exposing their fragility. The mathematics of psychology work in your favor. Every unit of energy they spent on hatred is energy not invested in self-improvement. Every moment focused on your destruction is a moment not spent on the construction. You're growing while they're grinding themselves down through obsession. There's profound freedom in not needing to win every argument, correct every misstatement, or defend every accusation. This liberation comes from understanding that your worth isn't determined by others' opinions. Your value isn't dependent on their approval, and your success isn't threatened by their schemes. The smile you maintain isn't artificial cheerfulness, it's authentic confidence. It's the natural expression of someone who knows that temporary noise cannot disturb permanent truth. It's the face of someone playing a longer game than their opponents can comprehend. Your enemies mistake your restraint for weakness, your patience for passivity, your silence for surrender. These misinterpretations lead to strategic errors on their part. They overextend themselves, expose their methods, and reveal their true character while you remain unreadable. The principle extends beyond personal conflicts into professional environments. The colleague who maintains composure during heated meetings, the leader who stays calm during crises, the entrepreneur who remains focused despite criticism. Each demonstrates the kind of emotional regulation that commands respect. Your silence creates space for truth to emerge. Without your defensive reactions clouding the picture, others can see situations more clearly. They notice who attacks unprovoked, who escalates unnecessarily, who behaves with dignity under pressure. The contrast becomes unmistakable. The strategic patience required for this approach separates masters from amateurs. Anyone can throw punches, few can absorb them without flinching. Anyone can start fights. Rare individuals can end them without engaging. This level of self-control marks you as dangerous in the most sophisticated way. Your refusal to participate in their drama forces them to perform for an audience of one, themselves. Watch how quickly the entertainment value diminishes when there's no reaction to their performance. Monologues lose power without response. Their show becomes a soliloquy in an empty theater. The compound effect of consistent composure builds a reputation that precedes you into every situation. People know they can't provoke you, can't manipulate you through emotion, can't drag you into unnecessary conflicts. This reputation becomes a protective shield and a strategic advantage. Your enemies often project their own insecurities onto their attacks. What they criticize in you reveals what they fear in themselves. What they attack most viciously indicates their deepest vulnerabilities. Your silence allows these projections to become self-revelations. The beauty of this strategy lies in its sustainability. Hatred exhausts, composure energizes, anger depletes, peace replenishes, obsession consumes, focus creates. You're operating from renewable resources while they're burning through finite supplies. Machiavelli understood that the appearance of virtue often matters more than virtue itself in political contexts. Your calm response to attacks creates the appearance of moral superiority, whether or not you actually possess it. Perception shapes reality in the court of public opinion. Your smile in the face of hatred becomes a form of soft power, influence without coercion, control without force. It demonstrates a level of self-mastery that most people recognize but few can achieve. This recognition translates into respect, even from those who might otherwise oppose you. The psychological profile of someone who cannot be provoked suggests deeper strengths: self-knowledge, emotional intelligence, strategic thinking, long-term vision. These qualities make you valuable as an ally and formidable as an opponent, regardless of the specific context. Your restraint also protects your reputation from collateral damage. Engaging in public conflicts often leaves both parties diminished, even if one technically wins. By refusing to participate, you avoid this mutual destruction while watching your opponent damage themselves. The principle works because it exploits a fundamental human need for validation. When people attack you, they're seeking some form of acknowledgement: anger, fear, defensive behavior, anything that proves their actions matter. Your indifference denies them this psychological payoff. Time reveals the truth about character under pressure. Your composed response to attacks demonstrates emotional maturity and strategic intelligence. Their increasingly desperate attempts to provoke you reveal the opposite. The contrast becomes a case study in different approaches to conflict. Your silence forces them to fill the void with assumptions, and assumptions are often worse than reality. They might assume you plan an elaborate revenge, building powerful alliances, or possessing damaging information. These fears torture them more than any actual retaliation could. The strategic advantage of unpredictability cannot be overstated. When you consistently refuse to follow their script, they lose their ability to anticipate your moves. This uncertainty forces you into reactive rather than proactive positioning, a fundamental shift in power dynamics. Your enemies often become prisoners of their own hatred, trapped in cycles of obsession that prevent them from moving forward with their lives. Meanwhile, your freedom from this emotional bondage allows you to pursue opportunities they're too distracted to notice. The smile becomes your signature, not because you're happy about their attacks, but because you're confident in your ability to transcend them. It's the expression of someone who knows that temporary storms cannot alter permanent foundations. Your refusal to engage in their emotional chaos protects your mental clarity and strategic thinking. Clear minds make better decisions, see opportunities others miss, and avoid traps that catch the emotionally reactive. This cognitive advantage compounds over time. The principle extends to how you handle success and failure. Those who cannot provoke you during attacks also cannot manipulate you during victories. Your emotional consistency makes you trustworthy in all conditions, which increases your value in professional and personal relationships. Your composed response to hatred often confuses observers who expect traditional conflict patterns. This confusion works in your favor because people tend to respect what they don't fully understand. Your approach becomes a form of intellectual authority. The energy your enemies waste on obsessing over you is energy not invested in their own growth and development. This opportunity cost accumulates over time, creating an ever-widening gap between your trajectories. They're standing still while you're advancing. Your silence in the face of attacks can inspire others who face similar challenges. Your example demonstrates that dignity under fire is possible, that composure under pressure is achievable, that victory without violence is real. This leadership through example multiplies your influence. The psychological warfare aspect works because most people are programmed for reciprocal response. Attack begets attack. Insult begets insult. Your refusal to follow this program breaks their strategic model and forces them to operate without a roadmap. Your enemies often exhaust themselves trying to break your composure, because they've invested so much in the belief that everyone has a breaking point. Your consistent failure to break challenges their worldview and forces them to question their understanding of human nature. The principle of non-engagement doesn't mean non-awareness. You observe everything, assess all threats, and prepare appropriate responses. But you choose the timing and terms of any action based on strategic advantage rather than emotional impulse. Your smile in the face of hatred becomes a form of psychological jiu-jitsu, using your opponent's energy against them. Their aggression rebounds off your composure and returns to damage their own position. You become the immovable object that breaks the unstoppable force. The long-term effects of maintaining composure under attack build character traits that serve you in all areas of life. The patience, self-control, and emotional intelligence required for this approach make you more effective in leadership, relationships, and personal achievement. Your refusal to be drawn into their drama protects your time and attention for pursuits that actually matter. While they're consumed with thoughts of you, you're focused on goals that will determine your future. This focus differential creates massive divergence in outcomes. The strategic beauty of this approach lies in its elegance. Maximum impact with minimum effort. You achieve decisive victory without lifting a finger, deliver crushing defeat without throwing a punch, and maintain perfect dignity throughout the entire process. Your enemies often realize too late that their attacks only made you stronger. Their hatred only made you more focused. Their obsession only made you more successful. By the time this awareness dawns, the gap between your positions has become unbridgeable. The smile you maintain becomes a symbol of mastery over the human condition, proof that external circumstances need not dictate internal states, that others' emotions need not become your emotions, that you are the author of your own experience, regardless of external chaos. Your composed response to attacks teaches others about the possibility of transcending reactive behavior. This educational aspect of your approach creates positive influence that extends far beyond the immediate conflict, contributing to a more civilized discourse overall. The principle works across all contexts because it addresses fundamental aspects of human psychology: the need for validation, the desire for control, the fear of irrelevance. Your silence denies them validation, demonstrates your control, and threatens them with irrelevance. Your enemy's increasing desperation often leads them to make tactical errors that expose their true character to wider audiences. These self-revelations accomplish what no counterattack could achieve: complete destruction of their credibility through their own actions. The sustainable nature of this strategy allows you to maintain it indefinitely without exhaustion or compromise. Unlike aggressive tactics that require constant escalation, composure actually strengthens with practice, making you increasingly formidable over time. Your refusal to engage in their chosen battleground forces them to fight alone against their own expectations. They're shadowboxing with a phantom opponent who exists only in their imagination, while the real you has moved on to more important territories. The strategic wisdom of this approach lies in recognizing that some battles are won not by fighting, but by refusing to fight. Your non-participation becomes a form of victory that denies your enemies the satisfaction they seek while preserving your energy for worthier pursuits. Your smile in the face of hatred becomes a masterclass in emotional intelligence, demonstrating to all observers that you possess the rarest of human qualities: the ability to remain centered regardless of external turbulence. This demonstration of mastery commands respect, even from enemies. The final irony is that your enemies often end up helping you more than your allies do, and their attacks increase your visibility. Their obsession proves your importance. Their energy validates your significance. They become unwitting contributors to your success story. Your composed response to hatred ultimately transforms you into something they never expected to face. Someone who cannot be defeated because they refuse to participate in defeat. You become ungovernable through indifference, unconquerable through composure, and unstoppable through silence. The smile you wear as you walk away from their noise isn't just an expression, it's a statement. It declares that you are operating from a level of consciousness they cannot reach, playing a game they cannot comprehend, building a legacy they cannot touch. In the end, your greatest victory isn't their destruction, it's your transcendence. You don't need to break them because you've already outgrown them. You don't need to fight them because you've already surpassed them. You don't need to defeat them because you've already forgotten them. So smile at your haters, but not for their benefit, for yours. Let that smile be your signature of supremacy, your mark of mastery, your sign of sovereignty, and watch as they exhaust themselves trying to disturb a peace they cannot touch, break a composure they cannot crack, and defeat a silence they cannot penetrate. The greatest power is not the ability to destroy your enemies, it's the ability to make them irrelevant. Your smile accomplishes this. Without violence, without hatred, without lowering yourself to their level. It's psychological warfare perfected. Victory through indifference, conquest through composure, domination through silence,